I'm Josh Barnett, and this is the Indie Dungeon Dungeon Block. Fun fact, the reason I named the show Indie Dungeon was because the only space I have to shoot videos in is my cellar. Way to kill the magic, right? It's not a real dungeon. So I've decided to do a block of games involving dungeons. After a little searching, it wasn't hard to find a ton of dungeon games. To start off, we have Dungeon Nightmares. Ooh. Okay, so some of you guys might have heard of this game, some of you probably haven't, I don't know. But Dungeon Nightmares is probably the scariest game I've ever played. First of all, you drop down a hole into a dungeon, so presumably, and it's just super atmospheric. The first thing you notice is there's groaning and moaning and all kinds of little particles floating around in the air, and you can't see very far because there's some kind of mysterious wet fog, I imagine, because it's bloody cold and wet and gross and dank. There are skeletons everywhere. You hear the buzzing of flies. It's just nasty. And this is just a game that's built on Unity, and you can play it on a web browser in any computer anywhere. It's great.
Oh! Jeez. Darn it. Shouldn't be that scary.
Okay. I didn't expect to get scared. I thought, you know, I don't really like scary movies. You watch scary movies, and you don't think, you know what's going to happen. There's a guy coming around the corner. Oh, get ready. Someone's going to get stabbed. You know, whatever. But you get dropped into this game, literally dropped down a tube into a dungeon, and it's dark, and it just fades in, right? Floating particles, all kinds of fog, you know, creepy noises. It's just sort of a hollow sound that sort of masks over anything that might happen, and it's quiet, but at the same time there's a lot sort of going on with the sound, and they did a really great job of putting you inside this environment of just creepy dungeon scariness. At one point I walked up to a door and I thought, something's happening. I noticed that there was a jiggle at the knob, and you could hear a scratching behind the door. And you're like, oh my god, I'm not opening that door. But you do anyway, because you have to. You get a candle, which lights up the room slightly more, so you can see a little farther than you could before. But really, it doesn't last that very long. And it slowly fades, and all of a sudden you realize, oh, it's dark again. Great. What the heck? It's sort of like going into your cellar at night when the power's out and you have to go flip the switch or something like that. Flip your fuse or put it in a breaker. You know that it's your cellar. You've been down there a billion times, but you still have that little nerve cluster in the back of your lizard brain that turns on and says, oh, something's gonna get me. Oh, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. Even though you're just in your cellar next to your laundry machine. Every once in a while you sort of get the sense that there's something else there, you know, there's something moving, and they do that all the time, but there's something different about it, and it turns out there is someone down there with you, and it's the only thing really that you have to worry about, and she just pops up wherever, and the only thing you get is the run button, which only lasts a little while until you get tired and you start panting, and you can't hear anything coming, and their footsteps are loud. It's fantastic, spooky fun. The point of the game, though, is to search through this maze, and you get a map and you can see where you were, which thankfully makes the game playable, because otherwise, you know, you'd have to have a mental memory of everything going on, and it's a very complicated map in each level. So you're looking around, you're collecting gold, and I think that's just sort of bonus points, and you have to find an artifact before you can escape from that dungeon for that night. You know, so you're searching around, you may find the exit. Great, I have to find the artifact. And there's no indication as to where the artifact is. You just have to keep searching, going through each one, opening the doors very slowly, and then who knows what's going to be behind there. This developer, K-Monkey, is really into scary stuff. So the only other things I've noticed that they have are a ghost tracker application for your camera on your iPhone or whatever you've got, an aliens motion tracker, so the same sort of thing. I think maybe it's just a fun little gadget, like in the movies. And they seem to be working on a aliens themed version of basically Dungeon Nightmares, where you're going through corridors and assuming there's aliens, that you have to hide from and run away, and you don't have any weapons. Maybe you do. I don't know. They're still in development on that. So far, I think this is K-Monkey's biggest hit, seeing as PewDiePie got a hold of it and did a Let's Play, and shots of him jumping and being scared and things like that. And that's good for anybody who's developing a game, because they've got a huge audience and that's going to get spread around. Overall, I thought it was fantastic. It was super spooky, great graphics, really great sound. It was built in Unity, so you can play it right on your web browser. I didn't even have to download the Windows version, but you can if you want to. You can get it on GameJolt.com and search for Dungeon Nightmares. Alternatively, there's an iOS and an Android version you can download for your tablet or your phone. Much better with headphones. Really need to play it on a big screen to really get the immersive effect, and the controls on the computer are a lot probably faster and easier to do than on a tablet. But get it where you can. The game is free, developed by K-Monkey, and it was a great game. I really enjoyed playing it. Check it out, everybody.
Hey, thanks for watching. I'm glad you stuck around to the end. Now you get to hear about what's coming next. Part 2 will be Dungeon of the Endless, followed by Quest of Dungeons. And then the fourth of the whole block of Dungeon Block on Indie Dungeon will be...
I don't know yet. I haven't figured it out. I have to search through thousands of different indie games that have the word dungeon involved. So, stay tuned, check it out, and see what I come up with. Subscribe.
If you dare.